Senate Bill 371 by Senator Barrow, Title 14, Sentencing for Certain Sex Offenses, provides relative to administration of surgical castration for sex offenses when the victim is under the age of 13 at the time of the offense, provides for medical evaluations prior to treatment.
Rep. Jordan, why do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I see that after looking at the fiscal note on this, that there potentially is a $150,000 fee related to the AG in defending this suit. I'm just asking if this has been recommitted to appropriations.
If you would like to make a motion, I would ask that you come down to the well and do so.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Look, while I know they say that the note is undeterminable, I know it says that it might cost the state a total of $550 to $680 per offender. But more concerning, the AG is saying that they anticipate that there's going to be a constitutional challenge, and the constitutional defense will cost no less than $150,000 in costs for outside counsel, expert witnesses, as well as the costs related to the general litigation. I've spoken to the chair of appropriations. This is over $100,000, so I'm asking that it be recommitted to appropriations.
I mean, I don't see why not. She don't have to, just agree. Yeah. Appropriation. And Rep. Board. Oh, wait, no, doing that? Who's doing it? Y'all got it? Members, can I get your attention? So Representative Jordan has made a motion to recommit this bill to appropriations. Representative Boyd is objecting to the motion. All those in favor of recommitting the bill vote yea. All those opposed vote nay. Madam Clerk, please open machine. Hilferty, nay. Boyd, nay. Jordan, yea. Members, you're voting. The clerk will close the machine. We have 41 yeas, 50 nays, and the motion fails. Okay, we're going to go ahead and back on the bill. Rep. Boyd on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I know that my bill on the vasectomy, as well as this bill on surgical castration, has hit a nerve with many people. May 8th, 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago, there was an article in The Advocate, Baton Rouge Advocate, of an arrest warrant of a 51-year-old male who had raped a 12-year-old girl. As I read the article, in 2007, this man was arrested for the aggravated rape of a 5-year-old. You can look it up on your phones right now. Same man in 2007, the aggravated rape of a 5-year-old. Less than 6 days ago, I watched the sheriff from Terrebonne Parish talk about a 41-year-old man raping a child, shooting that child, and then burning her and not taking her to get help. I have some amendments for this bill to make the crime exclude offenders under 17 years old. I've also added it to exclude sexual battery. I think that in addition to that, it's at the judge's discretion to sentence someone to that.
Rep. Boyd, we're going to go ahead and take up the amendment. Madam Clerk, on the amendment.
Mr. Speaker and members, Representative Boyd first offers up one page to have amendments 5048.
Rep. Boyd, on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the change of the age of the offender, that he would not get sentenced to this under the age of 17 years old.
Any questions on the amendment? Any objections to the adoption of the amendment? Hearing no objections, the amendment is adopted. Next amendment, Madam Clerk.
Representative Boyd offers up one page to have amendments set number 4803.
Rep. Boyd, on your amendment.
Thank you. This amendment, mostly technical, it changes the word defendant to offender.
Any questions on the amendment or any objections to the adoption of the amendment? Hearing no objections, the amendment is adopted. Next amendment, Madam Clerk.
Representative Hilferty offers up one page set of amendments set number 5054.
Rep. Hilferty, on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I discussed this amendment with Senator Barrow, and she agreed to include it. What it does is, right now, many of us believe that a sex offender cannot live near a school. In reality, the law is such that if the victim is 13 years or younger, the offender cannot live near a school. So when a victim that is 14 or above, that sex offender can live in close proximity to a school. I am raising the age from 13 to 14 in this amendment, and I would ask for your confirmation of that.
Any questions on the amendment? Any objections to the adoption of the amendment? Hearing no objection, the amendment is adopted. Back on the bill. Rep. Wilford Carter for a question on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When will the castration take place? After appeal process is over with, or when would the castration take place?
Well, if it's in an appeal process, Judge, I don't think that anything would be done then.
So what does the bill say? The bill just says that if you convicted of the, I'm sorry, I didn't read the bill. You can tell me this.
If the offender is convicted, and it's at the judge's discretion to sentence that. It does not have to be a castration.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas for a question on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can we assume that this applies only to males?
This bill does, yes.
Is it in the law? Is it in that it applies only to males?
This bill only refers to men's castration. It does not talk about women.
It does speak about men.
Correct.
Thank you.
Rep. Jordan for the floor on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, if I could just have your attention for a few moments. Members, let me just say this to you. If I can have your attention. I will say this, I think we all agree that if you do something as horrible as raping a child, there should be serious punishment and consequences that follow that. And I love my senator, Senator Barrow. I love my sister, Rep. Boyd. She knows that. And I will tell you, this violates, me coming up here probably violates some unwritten rules and protocols about speaking against members' bills. But before I'm a legislator, I'm a black man first. Before I'm chair of the caucus, I'm a black man first. And I can't violate that, and I can't run away from that, because when I leave here tonight and I go to the varsity and we all go celebrate, and I might be dressed a little more, not might be, I will be dressed a little more casual. That's what you're going to see. That's what the outside world is going to see, and that's what it's going to be. And who does this affect most? Now, I know it's race neutral. I know that we say it can apply to anybody, but we know who it affects. And let's talk about the historical context behind this. Before we were free, and even afterwards in Jim Crow, what happened to black men? How did they put other black men in their place? They would find a buck, and they would take him, and they would lynch him, and they would castrate him. And that historical context is not lost on me. And if I let this bill pass, if it does, and I didn't come up here and say anything, maybe I would be in order, and maybe it'd be proper protocol, but I'd be violating everything that I believe in as a man. I don't know if I could go home and look at my daughter or my son, or in a couple of days when I see I got 3 granddaughters. So don't believe that I don't want punishment for people who do this. And I'm sure if somebody did it to one of mine, something would happen. I'm confident in that. So this is not about them being punished. It's the type of punishment. I would not accept this any more than I think some of my Jewish friends would tolerate the death penalty being conducted via gas chamber. Even though gas chamber and hanging might be an effective way of effectuating the death penalty, I don't think any of us would do that. And so while castration might be an effective way to try to deter this type of conduct, because of the historical context and the psychological context that it has, especially as it relates to black men, I can't be for it. And I can tell you that if you go and look at the vote, there are other people that agree with me and couldn't be for it. Again, if this is the vote, if this is the way that it's supposed to be done, I think we got some constitutional issues with it. I think it is going to be challenged. I've talked to people who said that they're certainly considering challenging it. So there's going to be some fee associated with it. But outside of that, I don't know. Let me just say it like this. I wouldn't have respect for myself if we didn't come up here, if I didn't come up here and speak for it, and speak against look, I think some of you, you think that this is nothing, and you think that this is, a laughing matter, but I think if you had context for your history and it really affected you, you would have a different outlook on this. And so we all have our perspectives, and this is mine, and so I rise against this bill. Not dealing with the issue of punishment for a sex offender. We need to punish them severely. But to use a method that has the historical context of impacting black men who did not commit crimes It's just something that's unconscionable to me. So with that, I rise in opposition.
Do you waive questions? Take any questions. Rep. Wilford Carter for a question.
So Representative Jordan, the way I read this bill, it does not really say your appeals is exhausted. It just said within so many days of your release. So what happens if a person is convicted and for some reason they find that he wasn't the person that did the crime? So the judge has sentenced him to an order of castration. So this bill doesn't have any protection provisions in it for people wrongly accused. If you can get convicted and plead guilty to a charge and end up getting it overturned.
You could be innocent, and look, we have a history of wrongful convictions. We talk about it more as it relates to the death penalty. And those people and we talked about this in the crime session, of all the people who had actually been sentenced to death and died and later found out that they were the wrong person. And I mean, even if you exonerate them on paper, they still dead. The issue here is, if this were chemical castration, if this were vasectomy or something that could be reversed, maybe that's fine, but you can't do that in this situation.
And most of our crimes, is it correct that involving crimes against juveniles, a 13-year or less, there are severe penalties, life in prison, that sort of stuff. So my concern is that while it sounds like it's a just punishment, is it not true that we really have 3 different justice systems in Louisiana, as we do in most states? One for blacks, one for other people, and one for affluent people. And so the judge would have discretion. And he can do, I would prefer a bill the judge wouldn't have discretion. This bill, the judge have discretion. He can pick and choose who he decide to implement this bill against.
I understand. I agree.
Representative Boyd, you have a right to close on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to make a correction. Senator Barrow sent a note that this bill applies to men and women. I love Edmund Jordan. I know he knows that. This bill is the furthest from me about race at all. The man in Baton Rouge that I spoke about from 2 weeks ago is a white male, 51-year-old white male. About 2 months ago, the first time in 10 years, someone was sentenced to chemical castration. He was a white male. I am looking for someone who could have stopped this 51-year-old male who was sentenced to aggravated rape of a 5-year-old from having the ability to then turn around in 2024 and rape a 12-year-old. That is all this bill does. It works for men and women. We have to stand and fight for children. I don't care about the emails that I've gotten on my bill or Senator Barrow's bill. I am up here for children. I think everybody in here knows that I'm an advocate for children who are victims of sexual assault. I ask for your favorable passage.
Representative Boyd moves final passage of the bill. In your favor, vote yea. Those opposed, vote nay. Madam Clerk, please open machines. Members, vote your machines. Members, vote your machines. Ahmed, a yea. Green, nay. Bayham, yea. Members, are you through voting? Clerk will close the machine. If 74 yeas, 24 nays, and the bill finally passes. Representative Boyd moves to the vote. The bill finally passes. I have a motion on the table. Without objection, so ordered.